I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic and a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans.
And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field.
Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We could even drum up opportunities for the Marching Band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
My name is Joseph Hurst. I live in Ankeny, Iowa, and I'm a part of the PMBA program. I currently work as the Director of Sales at Stony Creek Hotels in Johnston, Iowa, and I chose the Iowa State MBA program because it just made perfect sense. About 2 years ago, I started this wonderful program, and I couldn't imagine not having done it. What has helped the most balance work, life, school, has been the people I'm in class with. It's great to go through questions, problems, study for tests, and it just makes the whole class so much easier. As a working professional thinking about doing an MBA program, I get night classes aren't everybody's dream. I get after a long day of work, you may not want to go do more, but it's worth it. You're going to learn a lot, not just from the professors in the program, but from the other students. They come from all walks of life. They are from different age groups. They're from different companies. They're from all kinds of different backgrounds. They've got all kinds of different stories. And after 2 years, I've made some of the best friends I've ever made, learned the most I've ever learned, and I can't imagine what we're going to do after we're done.
Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. Terraplex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag drone technology and support from Terraplex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with Terraplex Ag. Visit TerraplexAg.com.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum, from the Wild Rose Casino Studio. It's Williams and Blum, presented by Mechdyne, on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
All right, guys, what's going on? Game day, top 10 matchup tonight, Hilton Coliseum. Iowa State is a 5.5-point favorite over Kansas. Bill Self coming to town. Always electric when Iowa State and Kansas get together. And we look forward to breaking it all down with you here today. My name is Chris Williams. I'm joined as always by Brent Blum. We are in the Wild Rose Casino Studios, presented by Mechdyne. It does feel like we need another Haverhill Social Club night coming up. Aiden, are you in with that? Aiden
loves the Haverhill.
Sure, I'll go to Haverhill, twist my arm.
Aiden gave me this mug for Christmas. Like that?
Okay, what do I got today?
Oh,
Cyclones versus the world. Cyclones versus the world today, everybody.
I'm wearing my president shirt. Isn't that great?
Those two are big. They need to have a need to have an inauguration today, everybody. The presidents. We need them. We need them today.
I have a announcement to make. Mike Martz and Kyle Starcevich, and we've been working in the We Will Collective's always a part of this, and then Jacqueline Cordova does a great job of getting our graphics ready. We have 2 new T-shirts that are out today on Cyclone Fanatic Shop.
Holy smokes!
Look at the Brant Chatfield shirt. This was. I don't even know.
Is that glass cleaner?
He's the glass cleaner, and he's wearing coveralls and work boots.
What is in the right? What is in the right hand?
That's like a Windex rag.
Okay.
He's literally cleaning the glass.
The goatee is a very nice touch, by the way.
Yeah, that was added at the last minute.
His production since the goatee has been off the charts.
Well, that's one of my favorite shirts we've done. We're really on fire right now with these basketball shirts. So
look at the campers.
This is great. So Martz went and delivered the Hilton camping T-shirts to some of the campers today. Look at these poor bastards.
You guys are something. It's 0 degrees outside. And school's not even in session, C-Dub, by the way.
Is it really not in
It's not.
session
It doesn't
still?
start till Tuesday. So these guys went
Wow.
on their break to camp out at Hilton Coliseum.
I didn't realize that, dude.
Yeah. This country's going to be okay. We're going to be okay, everybody.
Why would school not be in session right now?
They wait till after MLK Day. I don't know. It's when the semester starts. Because we got a big event Friday over in Riverside, and it was hard to get some of the guys back because they're like, we're not in town yet. Anyway, so people will start coming back.
You know, that makes sense because I have seen some football players that, like Rocco was in Florida.
Yeah, he still is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
So the students aren't in for the Kansas game.
The students are like my favorite part of home games.
I know, but it'll still be electric, but at least those guys are there. Shout out to those guys.
So the students, that sucks for them though. They're missing 3 Big 12 games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that really, really sucks. Like
Now,
I hope their season tickets were cheaper.
Well, but honestly, C-Dub, you know what sucks is the rest of us don't get a month off in the middle of the year.
Well, but we're adults.
So
there's nobody who's more pro student here than me. Pro band. Like I'll go to war for those kids. Although I do think at some point in their lives, while it's going to create great memories, they're going to look back and be like, "Man, we were really idiots for sitting out and sleeping in these tents for 4 nights in a row."
I bet because they did that. They've been doing that for a long time. I bet there's a crew now, that was doing it 12 years ago. I wonder what they think. Like, would you want to do it again?
I mean, I guarantee you at some point before I started working in this business that I would have been that guy.
I'm too soft. I would never. No.
No, you wouldn't.
I would.
There's no way.
Not.
But you could see like me and Jess Bond and Fink.
Oh yeah.
Like walking from Friley over there to like we would absolutely.
So yeah, I would have let you guys do that, and I would have just said, "Hey, save me a seat."
Wait a minute, Gookin's got some details here.
Gookin's got details in the chat.
Yeah. He says students will be in the lower bowl on both sides. They had to claim them. The upper deck student section was sold to the public. Actually,
I like that Gookin.
That's great.
Good job by Iowa State there.
Really, I mean, I would almost be okay with that most nights.
I would agree. Because you get the diehards then. And
yeah, you get the real sickos.
Yeah.
And then you also don't run the risk of the upper student section not filling up.
And then honestly, you get an entry level for some of the younger fans who can't do the big donations.
Mm-hmm.
We're on to something here, guys.
Well, the moral of the story is go to CycloneFanaticShop.com.
Yes.
I put that out after the game on Saturday. Would you buy a Brant Chatfield shirt? And like 90% of you said yes, and now it's time to prove it.
The cool part for that guy is like he's okay. I'm not going to share all the details, but that can really help him.
Yeah, he's not. This guy isn't driving a Ferrari around campus.
He is the furthest thing from Coleman Hawkins.
He is a student athlete.
He is a student athlete.
And I was milling around with some people in the program because I like to get a little bit back story on like before we do these shirts with these guys. Like, hey, is there something I should know about this guy? Does he have a nickname? And my source, you can read between the lines. My source was like because I was explaining the blue collar like thought, like how we wanted to do these with like coveralls, and they're like, the source says it's absolutely perfect because that's just how he is like on a day-to-day basis.
Just super low key. He's a former walk-on from Idaho. Like it's a really awesome story.
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting the love out there.
Same.
Cool stuff. Well, anyways, so tonight's game is obviously a big one. We had games last night in the Big 12 where, we should have put the mortgage on Arizona at like -5 against Baylor. That was an easy way to make some money. 10 o'clock tip, Scott Drew going west. It just set up. I do think Arizona's kind of my team. I've been on them for a while now, where the metrics didn't really like it, and they're now 5-0 in the Big 12. Sets up a big one here in a couple of big Mondays. Keep an eye on that. We had Nick asking how bad it was an 11-point game. I think a 5-point spread. The Kansas State thing keeps getting worse as they were leading Tech at halftime.
Yeah.
And
Tech played horrible, and they still won.
Well, Kansas State missed its last 8 shots. Like, really probably should have won that game. I don't know if you watched it. Like, I was surprised.
I did, but I think, there were more people watching in Iowa than went to the game. There's nobody there. There's nobody there. It's bad. And then how about UCF going on the road and beating Arizona State? UCF is the strangest team of the year. They're
kind of terrifying.
They are.
Because if you get them on the wrong night, like they can really beat anybody.
Hall for them scored 40 last night, just kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah. So, anyways, that happened last night in the Big 12. Tonight, obviously, and then the Iowa State women. We need to talk about this. This was
awesome.
A big story last night. They've won 3 in a row. They're up to 4-2 in conference play.
That thing was chippy,
dude. I didn't realize Danae Fritz played for Texas Tech until that game.
Yeah, and Jalen Bristow.
Yes. Well, I knew about Bristow,
yeah,
but I didn't realize
that
I didn't realize Fritz was there too. That was cool.
And she clearly wanted to mix it up yesterday.
Oh, Fritz went there ready to fight.
Oh, it was something.
She was talking shit. She was. And I love that Iowa State didn't really back down. Like, you had Addie flexing at her.
Yeah. If there's somebody who's going to do it back, and it was perfect, it was Addie. And then obviously other stories. Iowa State doesn't make a 3-pointer, so the streak ends.
Yeah.
Which in the post game, Bill's like, I won't want to say they were relieved, because clearly you want to shoot the ball and make threes, and it's a fun fact. But I don't think anybody is just crushed that thing's over.
I think the most crazy stat of that game was not that they didn't make a 3, that they only attempted 6.
6 or 7.
7. They got 1 at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But that is so different than how finally teams have played in the past.
Well, and that's what, that was Tech's game plan, is they were going to try and be physical, ugly it up, literally start a fist fight at times, and take away the 3 ball. And so Iowa State said, okay, let's roll. And I thought Iowa State defensively was as good as I've seen in a long, long time. That was very encouraging, because Tech really tried to make Iowa State uncomfortable. The Cyclones offensively, really had to grind it out, and Addie Brown right there was phenomenal. Audie got him off to a good start, and then Addie Brown was, how do I say this nicely? She was not going to let Danae Fritz win in Hilton Coliseum last night, with how that thing unfolded in the second half.
Well, it's funny, too, how laundry does this to people, because
it does.
Fritz was my favorite player that year.
She turned heel on us, though, literally. It was great entertainment. Some of the stuff was a little bit over the top, but at the end of the day, it was fun.
Yeah. I went from Fritz being my favorite player in college basketball to, oh my God, she's so annoying. But no, good win.
Good win. Yeah, they're 4-2 in the conference.
How's West Virginia?
Very good.
Yeah,
very
that'll
good.
Be a tough one. Probably be an underdog in that game.
We'll be an underdog in that game. That's a tough place to go. They're good. But after all this stuff for this women's basketball team, you're still in really good position. You're definitely an NCAA tournament team as of right now, and you're in the thick of the Big 12 conversation as well, just like we thought. I think, the losses to South Carolina and UConn that were very one-sided, maybe took away the momentum, but the plan all along was you play those games so you get better once you get to January and February, and lo and behold, here we are. Iowa State's playing really solid basketball. And I think the most impressive part for me on the women's side is, physically they're not backing down. They are right there.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, they've been really good, and the last 3 games especially. So I think this team is going to be in for the long haul here in the Big 12, and I definitely think they'll make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
I'm more just looking at how can you be a factor in the Big 12?
Yeah, and
down the stretch, because I think this team is still good enough to do that. They've got to find some shooting though. At some point.
You're right. It's Audie, Addie, and then Hope, and it's not helping the cause that Emily Ryan is still on this minutes restriction. So I don't know exactly what the details are, but she is literally on a minutes restriction, and when she gets to that magic number, she has to be taken out. And it really impacted things a couple of games ago in Arizona. Thankfully, obviously, it still held on and won that game. But yeah, they need some sort of shooting to develop on the outside. I mean, Sidney Harris was great against over the weekend, and AJ can shoot it. Reagan's been good at times. Kelsey Jones clearly, but man, they as much as it's cool they won a game without a three. That's not a long-term recipe for success for this team, unless teams are going to guard them that way, and then just force it inside.
We are presented, as always, by our friends at Mechdyne. We want to thank a couple other of our great sponsors, and it is Big 12 basketball season, so you got to, you can't ever plan ahead too much. I'd like to give a shout-out to Hope Wood. She is our lawyer who does wills.
Where are you going?
She can do your will in a day.
It's going to be a bumpy.
I actually learned last week too how important this is,
yes,
about having a will down. So hopewoodjd.com. It's a pain. Nobody wants to think about it, but it's important. I also want to thank Gravitate Co-working.
I was there.
Sponsor of the show
I was there on Monday.
Really? Did you go there and work?
I worked. I had a meeting there with working on a project with somebody over there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Which one did you go to?
The one downtown.
Nice.
Right there on Locust. Is it Locust?
It's Bloom approved.
Yeah, it was great. I had a cup of coffee. It was great coffee.
Nice.
Yeah.
They have coffee.
They do have coffee.
Co-working. Kelderman Manufacturing as well. I felt terrible for our guy, Mark Stack. He, Mark down at Kelderman, bigger Vikings fan than me. And he did not take Monday night's shenanigans
How
well.
are you doing?
Brent, I'm fine because I was talking about this with my wife.
You expected it. Like, you really did. It was crazy.
I told my wife, I'm like, I truly thought that whoever won the Vikings-Lions game the week before would go to the Super Bowl and that the loser would lose in the first round. I told everybody I knew that, and I was actually pissed because I really didn't want to play the Rams because I knew we would lose to the Rams. I wanted like Tampa or something.
Yeah.
Like I thought we had a shot at them. But the Lions, like if the Lions didn't have the Lions need a week off, right? Like they need to get healthy, and now they're getting healthier and they're at home. And the Vikings weren't going to lose at home to anyone, but the whole thing is just we're the only franchise in the world that can win 14 games and you just feel like you're in complete limbo. Like, what are we going to do with the quarterbacks? It's just...
Is that the most average 14-win season of all time?
I would actually probably reject that because they were really good at certain points.
It's true.
They really were good. But it also, I don't know. The Darnold thing, like I can't just completely bury him. Like he was getting killed. Like they're down Darisaw. There's just too many other factors. And the Vikings defense completely regressed the last couple of weeks as well. So I
won't bring it up anymore. Hey,
I
good
could
news
do
is
2 hours on this. I'm not.
Good news for Chris Williams. Iowa State's second in the country in basketball. So
number 2 ranked varsity basketball program at the
that.
Iowa State University.
That's right. First time ever.
We're not burying this. We are aware of the rumors of Milan Momcilovic and an injury. We've seen it all. It's also not our place to speculate on injuries. And I guess I'm just going to leave it at that because it's completely inappropriate for us to come out here at 9 o'clock and talk about things that we truly don't have confirmation on or know about. So we're not ignoring you guys in the comments. It's just we're not throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. That's not the show we're trying to do here. Is that fair? Do you have anything to add?
I think you set up great.
Thank you. Stay tuned. Okay. So this Kansas matchup, been seeing a lot of Iowa State fans who it's a weird spot to be a nearly 10-point favorite against Kansas. Iowa State has earned this. This is a top 5 home court advantage in the country. Iowa State is, by all means, has the right to be a favorite over this Kansas team. I do think the line here, though, Brent, just in my opinion, is probably a little bit skewed because Kansas, metric-wise, I think they're a little bit better than what the metric might say. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, they are.
I think Iowa State should be a legit favorite here. Not my point. I guess my point is, I think all of us watched their first game against West Virginia, and that's not them. And I think they're more like the team they've been in the last week and a half.
Yeah, it's a strange collection that they've put together there.
They don't fit well.
They don't fit great yet. Now maybe it'll come together. I mean, you look at their numbers, it is a bizarre analytic team too. I mean, it is really, Chris, Kansas looks like they play in 1993, where they got a big guy and they got some big guards and they don't really shoot the three ball at all. It's bizarre. Like it's super. This game will feel like an old school Big 8 game,
which is why I wore my president shirt today.
This game is going to be in the post, everybody. Now, again, both teams can shoot the ball, but Chris, analytically, just real quick on Kansas, they are 317th in the country in three-point attempts, which is crazy. Like that is wild. They have one guy that shoots it a lot, and that's Mayo from three. I think everybody else is below 15 attempts on the year from three. So, I mean, what does that mean? I think Iowa State matchup-wise, with Jefferson, Jackson, and Chatfield is in a really good spot here. Now, I think the X factor is KJ Adams for them and Rylan Griffin, who are both kind of those bigger forwards. They can store as well. I'll throw him in the mix. They can drive it. They can shoot a little bit. So you only have so many dynamic wings to guard those guys. Probably a Keshon is going to have to step up and be big and, guard a 6'7" guy today. And, Heisey's going to get a lot of run. So, athletically, I think Iowa State's going to be okay in the front court. I really do. Like, if this was a year ago, I'd be concerned when you're having to play Hunter Dickinson. But with Jackson and Jefferson and Chatfield, he's good. He's clearly a top 5 player in the country. But I think Iowa State is as equipped to play somebody like that as it has been in some time. And, if Iowa State can continue to play well offensively, I think Iowa State has way more weapons than Kansas does, but you never know. I mean, this team can guard you. It's going to be a slugfest, and we know this. I know he's easy to dislike, but I think Bill Self is as good as it gets, especially coming in as an underdog. I mean, how many games in the last 15 years has Kansas come in
If you're betting this game, bet on Kansas because you want Iowa State to win anyways, and it's always smart to bet on Bill Self as an underdog.
But they are unbelievable as an underdog. They just are.
Yeah. They're like it's like, honestly, it's just like if Mahomes is ever an underdog in the you don't even think about it, you just bet it every time. Every time.
But on the Iowa State side, if I'm taking the rosters for the top
you want
8
Iowa
guys,
State.
I want Iowa State's roster.
No
like
doubt.
I really do.
And I don't even think it's close, to be honest.
But it's basketball. Like I think this is going to be an interesting game. Kansas, tempo-wise, is 150th. Iowa State's 110th. I mean, they're not slow. Who turns the ball over? Who takes care of the ball? And then the glass. Iowa State cannot have a first half, by the way, like it did against Tech on the glass. Like they are going to have to be your guy Chatfield. He's got to get that glass cleaner out because I think this game is
my guy.
Won or lost on the glass today.
My favorite player since Homan. I am with Chatfield like our guy, our other friend Brant is with Larry Eustace. I'm a Chatfield Homan. We need to get a hold of Homan, see if we can honor Jackson Vroman as well. Do like a Bash Brothers T-shirt with like Chatfield in the middle. Let me put it to you this way. I was thinking about this last night. Late night basketball night for Chris. Was watching Iowa get pummeled by USC. I had the double TV going. It was great. These Tuesday night, late night, Big 12
living the
games
dream,
are
baby.
amazing.
Yeah.
Love it. Iowa State with Keshon and Taman. It's like having 2 shutdown corners.
Yes.
You have elite corners.
It's good.
So
I like that.
So you don't need safety help. I've got 2 Quentin Jammers on the corner, okay? I got Prime in his prime. All right? Now, so it's like, okay, well, you're good on the edge. What do you got in the middle? Oh, we got an elite defensive line. We have 2 elite. We got an edge rusher in Jefferson, and we have 2 elite nose guards in Deshaun and main man Chat, who's going to come in and do the dirty work. So that's the thing. Like when I'm watching this, and then you got I'm just talking defense right now, obviously because this Iowa State team is a much better offensive team.
Is.
Like it's a top 10 offensive team too. I'm talking defense, but then you have Milan who's gotten a lot better. He's no longer like a 2 for you. He's like a 5, which is great
On defense.
Yes,
Yeah.
Kurt is actually. I think I would guess without seeing anything, his deflection numbers are up this year. He's still not a great defender. His deflection numbers are better. So he's disrupting. And then, the thing is, like, everybody doesn't have to be a 10. If you've got the 2 elite corners and you're really good in the middle, Iowa State they have an answer to pretty much everything that a team can throw at it, where, again, as you point out in the past, it's like you get these teams with these dogs in the middle, and you were pretty concerned about a matchup wise.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about that now.
And this is with these guys. I will be curious if Iowa State sends a double at Dickinson or they let Jackson and Chatfield try and guard them one-on-one. I think that's a fascinating matchup.
I think you start one-on-one.
Well, but this is what's crazy is the teams that have given Iowa State trouble have been the guard heavy that shoot the 3 ball, and that's not Kansas.
No.
One more stat for it, because I'm totally fascinated by this game. 300. So Iowa State is 311th in the country in points from the 3-point line. Okay. Kansas is 318th in the country in points from the 3-point line.
Great stat.
This is just we're going back to 1993, everybody. We got Greg Ostertag against Lauren Meyer.
Who's officiating tonight? That's what I need to know.
It's going to be Wednesday nights. You're not going to get the A++, but it should be pretty decent.
I see we got Billis in the house.
Billis and is Schulman with him? I think Schulman's with him. Oh.
Yeah. We got the A team.
That's the A team. I know. Billis is a little bit be a little bit over the top for me, but I think
a little East Coast, little ACC bias,
little Duke to him. No, I think Schulman's great.
Point is though,
it's gonna be great atmosphere.
And then you see the slam thing that came out yesterday. Really awesome, and this is why like rankings don't matter. You guys, if you listen to Williams and Blum, you know our thoughts on the freaking polls, but it's pretty cool when you're just consistently in the top 5 because you get stuff like this. And this Slam, by the way, Slam started following me on Twitter yesterday, and I'd never really followed them, or I remember buying Slam magazine when I was like 10.
Yeah.
Unbelievable job by this company to modernize itself the way that it has. It's doing merch. It's doing these custom covers. And Kurt and Keshon are on it yesterday. And just a really phenomenal piece on Iowa State basketball that you're going to get people all over the country. They have done a good job to make this program cool.
I was part of this, making this.
I thought you were, because you put out the little. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, Iowa State basketball is cool.
Well, and literally, okay, I'm just NIL-wise, they didn't. It's not like Slam has a big NIL budget. Let me just put it that way. But obviously, if you're Iowa State and those guys, Slam is cool. That was kind of the first thought for both. Like, we'll do it. But the cool part is actually the little behind-the-scenes stuff. These photos were taken by an Iowa State student. So we actually contracted with them to help out with this. So anyway, just kind of full circle.
I could have taken that photo. They're just sitting there. I'm just kidding. They're
agree.
Awesome. They just look phenomenal. I was blown away by it.
No, the neat part, for those guys is they literally aren't getting a bunch of recognition, and so to get this is kind of like a little bit of a tip of the cap. Like, hey guys, we do appreciate you. They don't ask for anything. Those who just come and play. And I remember, I still have, and it's in my office somewhere, the cover of Sports Illustrated when Marcus Fizer was on it prior to the 2000 NCAA tournament.
It's awesome.
That's 25 years ago. So, I mean, this is the cool part, and I saw some Cyclone fans talking about this, of finding this somewhere, some sort of copy for this so they could
probably,
have it as
I'm guessing that you could just get a PDF and print it off.
Honestly, that's probably the way to go. I don't know if it's actually I think it's just a digital cover. I don't think it's an actual magazine anymore.
I looked into it because I was enamored by their marketing and like how good of a job this print publication does. That's what I'm passionate about. You know that, and they did really, and then they're smart to go around and feature all these different schools because
Yep.
then they gain followers, and then they're doing merch to go
yeah.
along with the drops. Like they're really, really smart. So shout out to you if you had anything to do with. I
And
didn't know that.
How good are those uniforms looking, by the
Oh,
way?
those are the best uniforms Iowa State has across the board.
We got to wear those tonight, right?
I hope.
I
asked
listening.
I asked the
listening?
SID work, and he said they are. This was like 2 months ago when they unveiled them, and he said they are in the rotation.
Okay.
So it's not like a one-off. They're not just going to do it. So they very well could wear them tonight. Like I don't know, whatever that means. But they also, I know, have to work with like the marketing with athletics we got blackout night or whatever.
I just looked because a couple people were asking. I don't think there's a color game at all. I don't know where that came from. There's some rumors going online that it's like a blackout. That's not true. That's not true.
Well, I don't have much else to offer other than need to hold serve at home.
Yeah.
This game, it does worry me just in the sense of like I'm worried is not an accurate. I loved Curtis's quote because I think you and me have been feeling around with this as well from this slam piece where he said we haven't played our best ball.
It's true.
And I have felt that way about Iowa State for a couple of weeks now that it's just like, how many times have I come on post game? My instant reaction and my first thought was honestly, I'm like a broken record at this point where I say, man, it's good when you don't play your best, when you're playing like a B or a C game and you can still find a way to win it by 15. And Kurt more or less said that in this slam piece. And I do believe tonight, I'm seeing a lot of people on my Twitter feed being like, Iowa State by double digits. This Kansas team is likely better than you think it is. And Iowa State, I'm just saying, like, at some point you're going to have to play an A game. You may need to do that tonight.
Well,
I don't know.
And this is this game, and I'd say Auburn was right there too, where athletically you're not just better. Like these guys athletically are as good as Iowa State. You can't just overwhelm them like Iowa State has done with the Iowas and the Texas Techs in the middle. Like,
and you're going up against Mount Rushmore of college basketball coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there is a lot going on here, and then quite honestly, C-Dub, remember when at the TCU game down in Fort Worth last year, and Iowa State was missing Taman Lipsey, and you're like, how is this team going to respond? This team really hasn't dealt with a lot of adversity yet. I think we might see it tonight, and let's see how Iowa State can manage it. I mean, when you're 14-1, things have gone really well. Now the loss to Auburn was a tough one, but you have not really felt that pressure yet of not meeting expectations or have or injuries getting in your way. Well, let's see how Iowa State figures it out tonight. I think it's a good time to learn about and I think this team's super tough, but they haven't really dealt with a whole lot of question marks yet, and we'll see tonight.
Just as we continue to pound this fact, I mean, this is a big week for the program, right? I mean, as far as the rest of the season goes, 4 of your next 5 are quad 1 opportunities. And all of a sudden, Central Florida is a quad 2, that game at home. So that's great. We want this. Was also looking at some of these projections. Let's do our Whiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment now, presented by Whiffles.
Plant your independence.
Plant your independence. The Andy Katz came out with his first bracketology or whatever you call it last night. And he does it for who does Katz work for? The NCAA? NCAA.com, whatever.
Yeah.
Katz is good.
Yeah.
He has Iowa State as a 1 seed. That's no surprise. Only 7 Big 12 teams in his bracket, which honestly, I can't tell you if I could make an argument that they deserve more at this point. I think that's about fair. I guess my point is that this schedule, it's not like a classic Big 12 schedule, in my opinion, for Iowa State, where you're just like, oh, that's a freaking meat grinder. I think the next 2.5 weeks are. And then you are going to have some opportunities to feast a little bit, I think. But these next 5 games, we said this before the Tech game. Like, it was a 6-game stretch, and now you got one. You probably stole one, right?
Yep,
I think most of us maybe had that as a loss. But you get Kansas, You're at West Virginia. UCF, again, we have talked about the wild card that team is. We don't really know. And then you have the Arizona swing. Knowing what we know now, I'm shooting for what? 3 of 5 here? 3.5? Would you put the over-under at 3.5 in the next 5 games?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I would do.
Okay.
Yep. But yeah, West Virginia is going to be tough. Going there is always hard. Going to Arizona, you've never done it before. And then this game tonight, yeah, I mean,
Arizona's good.
Arizona, yeah, I think that's the Monday the 27th. And C-Dub, as you know, it's obviously it's been good, been ranked in the top 10 all year. You get into the 1 and 2 land, the expectations.
Everybody's gunning for you.
It's just a little bit different. I mean, there's a big difference, in my opinion, between top 5 win and a top 10 win. You're gonna have everybody's attention. Not that that's a huge thing, but then the pressure just ratchets up a little bit. You're doing games against Kansas where Billis and Schulman are in the house on national television. You're on Slam U. Like, this is new stuff.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff is new. How do you handle it? And, we dealt with this a little bit with, like, the Iowa State football team in, what was that, 21, when you had all those big names. And honestly, it was hard on some of the guys. It's like, if you're average, it's not good enough. And I think that part, we'll see how Iowa State handles it. I think it's good for them long term because you're in a great spot still, no matter what happens in the next 5 games. And I think this will be healthy. It's a long season. It's not going to be a walk in the park every single part of the year. And excited to see how this team handles it.
Real quick, because I keep hyping up my Wildcats. Just want to point out they are at Texas Tech on Saturday. So we'll learn a little bit more about Arizona.
This is the Arizona Wildcats,
yeah,
not the Tang
not
Cats.
Kansas State. No, we are all very reactive, and when they lost 5 games in the non-conference, I think people just completely jumped off of this team, and they got to go to Tech. Oklahoma State's horrible, by the way.
Yeah, oof.
Like, truly a bad basketball team. They got absolutely blitzed last night by BYU after getting blitzed by Utah. They had a little Utah swing there. They're really bad this year.
Yeah, Iowa State should sweep Oklahoma State. Let's be honest.
But Arizona's got then they got Colorado, so they realistically, I think, worst case are 7-1 when Iowa State comes to town on January the 27th.
They're going to start working their way back up in the top 10 again. Yep.
Yeah,
that should be that probably will be a top 10 matchup.
That'll be a featured Big 10, ESPN,
Big 12, yeah.
Fran Fraschilla.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Because it's weird that we haven't had a big Monday either because of the NFL playoffs.
True.
But that, I believe, starts back up next week.
Yep. And then you get 2 in a row between Arizona and Kansas. So
yes. So you're going to be featured.
Strap it on. Let's go.
Yeah. This is a good time. This is a good time.
This is not often. I mean, it's kind of because it's been a slow growth to Iowa State. But if you just step back a little bit, C-Dub, you got the number 2 Cyclones against the number 7 Kansas Jayhawks on national TV tonight at Hilton. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you would have told me that, growing up, my goodness, like let's figure this out. I can't wait to be in Hilton tonight.
You going?
I'll be there.
Taking effort?
He wants to go. We're negotiating. It's
early tip.
It's an early tip, so that does help his cause, not necessarily my cause.
I'm sicko. I'll be there at like 3:30 tonight, just sitting in the Pete Taylor media room, just looking around, talking to people.
If anybody gets the alert on the officials, let me know. I'm not going to put it out there. I'm not going to put it out there publicly. I don't do that anymore.
I'm going to sit there at the officials' entrance, and I'm going to watch it and tweet it out when Tom Eads walks through the door.
Why don't the officials have like the photos of them walking in like we do now for the players, like in their fits?
The WNBA, or who started all that? Like, I guess it would have been the NBA.
It was the NBA back in the day.
And then,
you know why?
Clark and the WNBA really leaned into it. Now they all have like sponsorships.
Yeah, it's super smart. Like, it's social media. It's a social media sport. But no, that all started, honestly. This is like way back machine. In the Allen Iverson, I'll say the Allen Iverson era of the NBA, they had to mandate that duress rule of walking into the and then that's when
so funny.
So then it became like this whole thing of, hey, who's gonna wear what? And TNT's following them around.
I'm paying homage
There's
to Allen
Iverson right there.
Right up
Yeah.
there. Prove them wrong.
I had some Iverson shoes back in the day.
Iverson, Rodman, and Randy Moss are probably my 3 favorite athletes of all time. In Homan.
What a collection.
Homan and Chatfield.
What a collection.
Got to throw those guys into the mix. I just loved Iverson though. Like he always had shit players around him. You know, he was one of the first guys that was just like, no, I'm going to be me. I'm not going to, because even like Jordan, right? Like Jordan could do whatever he wanted, but he wore a suit and he did the right thing. He was like a corporate guy. Like Iverson was like, screw that. Like I'm wearing my rose. I'm my long shorts. Like I love it.
We're talking about practice.
Yeah.
We're talking about practice.
One of the most iconic press conferences of all time.
By the way, on this
and
game
he played
tonight,
for G-Town. G-Town was so cool when we were kids.
Cool. They were cool. Speaking of like the cool factor, and now they're not.
Well, they're getting a lot better.
They are. I think I
still have them on my YouTube TV library. I get every G-Town game. I don't watch them all, but I got them all recorded.
You're an odd duck. Aiden, can you find the over-under on tonight? Because I actually have a feeling here.
Oh, we're going under, aren't you?
I mean, I think this is a complete half-court grinder because I don't think either team's going to turn it over a lot. I mean, that's the Iowa State's goal in this game.
That's advantage Kansas.
Well, I would agree. Kansas doesn't turn like DeJuan
I mean, if
Harris,
it plays out the way you're saying, that's advantage Kansas.
But I think
Iowa State's best in transition.
Probably in this game, and that's why Iowa State got in transition last year against these guys, and it kind of ran them out. This game, if it's a half-court game, we could be talking about 68-65 type, and then then you worry about foul trouble and free throws and all those things. But the one thing Kansas can do, again, they can't shoot great. They don't shoot a lot. They take care of the basketball though, so they're gonna get in their stuff. So with the over under
144.
Yeah, okay. I mean, for an Iowa State game, that's low this year. Most of Iowa State's games have been in the 150s. But
so they're seeing it.
They're seeing it too. I think Kansas is going to get into their stuff, and I think Bill Self as a tactician, X and O's, is as good as it gets. So they're going to make Iowa State work for it. I just don't know if Kansas has the shot makers to make Iowa State pay should they have open looks. So I'm fascinated by this game. I seriously, this is 1993 come back to life at Hilton tonight.
I want to thank our friends at Game Day Men's Health. Every time I go in there, I see like 4 Cyclone fans now who are getting the tea, baby. They're loading up on the tea. New year, new you. Help you with those workouts. Help you shed the pounds. And it's not just testosterone replacement therapy, that all kinds of stuff for Men's Health. Game Day Men's Health, I go to the one in Ankeny. Bloom does too. There's also one in West Des Moines and in North Liberty. The pick here is Iowa State. You don't pick against Iowa State at home.
You do not?
It's just a bad idea for anyone and everyone. I do think if I had to, let's say this thing goes off at 7, I think I would take points. If I had, this isn't gambling advice. It's just trying to analyze this game.
Yeah, the game. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I think Iowa State wins it, but that's just a lot of points for this Bill Self team that is 4th in defense, right? Like they're no slouch. Like again, like would it shock me if Iowa State wins it by 10? No, because it's Hilton. I just probably closer than most think. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I would say this as Iowa State's elevated.
I mean, this team beat Duke.
Yeah, and Kansas has Kansas isn't like dominant. It's still, I think we have maybe a little bit of a false premise of what Kansas is based on a couple losses in the non-conference.
Correct.
They're getting better, and they guard their rears off. So it's going to be hard. This is going to be a hard game. This is not Utah coming in and you can kind of coast to a victory. This is not Baylor. This team has guys, and you better play really good basketball because they're going to take care of the ball, and they're going to make you earn it. And if Iowa State wins this, it's because Iowa State earned it tonight. I'm excited for it. I think this is exactly what this team needs. And if you want to be the new bully on the block in the Big 12, well, you better beat the bully.
Let's go.
Real quick, because I had a couple questions.
Let's go. What we got?
Well, it's kind of been out there, but it's not. Maybe we're ignoring it because we know there's nothing to it. The football coaches interviewing for NFL jobs situation.
Oh yeah.
So it made the news this week. Noah Pauley did interview for the offensive coordinator job with the Niners, which is actually a huge tip of the cap to Noah for getting that interview.
That's Kyle Shanahan.
Yes, that's not going anywhere, right?
No.
And then the Matt.
Another good reason to be a premium subscriber.
Yeah, and then the Matt Bears thing is, I don't think there's really anything there. To my knowledge, Matt is recruiting daily.
He has been. Last week he was in a different home every single day.
I tried to get him to an event again that we're having on Friday night in Eastern Iowa, and he's going to be recruiting out in Nebraska that day. So I was like, all right. So yeah, I don't. Again, is anything possible? Yes.
Bears are going to hire Mike McCarthy anyway. Nothing matters.
Sorry, Aiden.
I was giving Aiden shit in the office yesterday about it. Like, if you're the Bears, I don't think you could make a more boring, less imaginative hire than Mike McCarthy.
So now that Marcus Freeman's starting to get some buzz with the Bears.
I wouldn't do that either.
I wouldn't think I would do that either.
I would hire anybody from the Shanahan McVay tree. I would hire Cliff Kingsbury.
That Lions offensive coordinator.
I don't care. Anybody who is an offensive mind that can help that quarterback.
Yeah, man, they're going to waste him, aren't they?
They're going to end up messing him up where he's seeing ghosts out there. I mean, we've seen this before, like where these talented guys get so screwed up. I think that I do think that happened to Sam Darnold early in his career, where he's not as bad as everybody claims he is.
But he lost his mind there when started coming.
No doubt. No doubt about that. He was just absolutely frozen in that game the other night. But what I'm saying is you can do that with these young quarterbacks if you just keep surrounding them with guys who don't understand good offensive football in 2025. Aiden and I both agree. Go hire Kingsbury. He's learned. I'm serious. I would hire him over Mike McCarthy.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, but I guess on the Iowa State front, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's the moral of the story.
Chris asking what about Kyle Kemp going to Drake. That's an upgrade for him. He goes from being an analyst to an offensive coordinator. This is how it works. And I don't know any of the intricacies of it, but when he didn't get promoted in the last round of hiring, it was probably like, hey, Kyle, go get some experience. It doesn't mean he won't be back at Iowa State in the future.
Correct.
He's still really young.
He's young and he's really good. He will be a high-end coordinator someday. It may even be at Iowa State. But like a Jake Waters spent time as a
UTEP.
Coach.
Yeah, UTEP. He went to UTEP.
He was a coach. So he got the nod over Kyle. And now Jake had an awesome year. He's really good. Jake's going to be a coordinator too. You're starting to build it out now where the Campbell tree's growing, and I think that's the fun part. Happy for Kyle. That is not a negative at all for anybody. And the neat part now, Kyle moves on. Now you promote somebody to an analyst role, and the whole thing keeps going. Do you know who started as an analyst at Iowa State in the Campbell regime? Mauser.
Mauser did, yeah.
So that's again, this is how the thing works. And as Campbell gets more seasoned by the day, you're going to have all of these, Campbell folks that are kind of matriculated around the nation. And the good part is then you just kind of build that network out of people understanding how good Iowa State is at their future stops.
That Pauly story, though, is really great for Iowa State.
Oh, awesome.
The fact that your wide receiver coach is this young up-and-comer who could even get that opportunity to sit down with Kyle Shanahan. I mean, if you had to do Mount Rushmore of offensive minds right now, he's on it.
No doubt.
It's him. It's McVay. It's draw a couple other guys. I mean, there's a lot of but those two are probably the best, wouldn't they be? Those two guys in the world right now? And you got Shieldhouse working for one of them.
Yep.
Shanahan's got your old quarterback. Right, it's really good stuff.
And that's why, I guess, just to make the NFL is very aware of Matt Campbell's program. By the way, this is why all these things are happening.
Well, it's why the Jets took all those guys too. That's a real thing.
It's people Iowa State is developing really, an NFL type program and how it does its business. The guys work hard. They're
Andy
well
Reid,
coached.
thank you.
Yeah,
he would be on
Andy
the
Reid.
Mount
There you go.
Rushmore.
Andy Reid's a good one. But the thing with Noah, I mean, awesome dude. young guy. He's under 35 years old. He turned down Florida State and a huge pay raise to
Great
stay at Iowa
dude.
State. Like this is what you want. People are going to move on. It's the nature of this business, but the more people that get experience and want it, like give a shout out to that guy for hanging around. That's really cool.
And you learn too when you go and do an interview. It's like a lot of these coaches too, and I don't know if it's happening here, but they'll spend time in the offseason. We heard Dillingham talking about that.
Yep.
Like when you're a young coach, you can go and like Leach used to do that. Leach and Mummy would go to BYU in the offseason and hang out with those guys when BYU was really humming.
You know what I really like about this staff, I'd say both Iowa State's coaches in general, is there's very little ego with this group.
Yeah.
And so even like a Mauser and a Pauly and some of those guys, Haycock has very little ego. They're always willing to learn and see what else is out there. And I think that's a little bit of a change from previous coaching regimes where I think you were a little bit more headstrong in the Rhodes era where it's going to be my way.
Stubborn
or
is
not.
bad.
Yeah, stubborn is bad in this sport.
Yeah, because it just evolves so quickly. You have to be on that. And it's why you have more head coaches in their 30s now. Back in the day, that didn't happen. Remember when they hired Campbell and it was like,
oh my gosh, yeah,
this guy's like a teenager.
Yeah, if you guys would go hang around the world, Chris, we would be old in the Iowa State coaching staff room right now. I mean, it's getting younger and younger, but as more ideas come up, it allows more opportunities for these guys.
No doubt. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up because I was just going to kill the show, and that's great insight, and you're spot on with all that.
Yeah, don't need to worry. Don't need to worry too much, people.
No need to worry.
Don't need to worry.
He is Brent Blum. My name is Chris Williams. Don't forget, CycloneFanaticShop.com. You can get your President's T-shirt, but we have the new Brant Chatfield Janitor T-shirt. We have the Hilton Coliseum Campground T-shirt. That was all Martz's idea. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Have fun, kids.
Just don't burn anything.
Yeah. We had a little bit of a drama with the generators or something yesterday.
I had to stay out of that.
I don't know enough.
I don't have enough money, I don't have enough information.
I am not a liability insurance specialist. Hang in there, everybody.
I do think that you kids you're an inspiration, dog.
You are an inspiration. Keep being you, guys.
Aiden Wyatt producing today. We are always presented by our friends at Mechdyne. We'll be back on Sunday. I will be live from Hilton Coliseum tonight at 5:30 right here on the stream of postgame as well. Have a great Wednesday.